Now, how would you feel if the man you married after having 5 kids for him leaves you to marry another woman? Sad, right? Today we are looking at a story that happened back in 2021. Credits to Afrimax for this story as we get to learn from it and some lessons I think will be applicable to you as well watching me right now. And also I get to ask a question: how would you feel if you're married to someone who is having extramarital affairs and even gets to give you a disease in your home? Wow, a lot of things are happening in the world these days when it comes to relationships.
1 week, exactly 7 days after the abortion, the guy came and said he was done with the relationship.
So let's look at these stories after the intro. Welcome back once again. So I was scrolling on YouTube, of course I'm a YouTuber, and I came across this story by Afrimax covering a woman who actually had to spoil the biggest day of another woman, but actually had a justification for what she did. Take a close look at this.
Finally, she reached here and found when the pastor was about to pronounce the two as a husband and a wife to each other. She stepped forward. With too much sorrow, she expressed her pain in front of everyone. When trying to stop her, she cried while explaining to the people that this man is her husband. They got married officially years ago, showing them kids they produced together. She could not let the husband go to the other woman, yet he has even failed to provide and raise his own 5 children. Chaos in the church. People wondering what's going on. Children crying. The mother lamenting. This moment, everything was messed up. The husband was shocked. He thought the wife would never know anything about this, but he was lying to himself.
Now, while this might not sound strange to most of you, indeed it is worth sharing her story. For all of you watching me right now, you might already be married, going through some issues in your marriage, or you are single like me, looking forward to one day getting married, but not hoping for such a thing to happen to you. Why would a man leave his own wife and go to marry someone else only for his marriage to be crashed on the day of his wedding? The woman got a call that the husband who had left him a few years ago was getting married to another pretty woman. Okay, I'm the one adding the pretty. Of course, the woman that she's married to is pretty. Come on, if you are going from old model to new model, if there's such a thing as old model to new model, of course the new package has to be well packaged. But unfortunately for him, the old wife whom he didn't divorce, the woman getting to hear of this quickly rushed in, dressed up and made her way to the wedding. Now this is what I'm seeing in this story right now. I think Afrimax were actually there at the wedding but signaled the woman of what happened. So maybe they had a crew at the woman's place and also had a crew at the wedding ground. So even those that were having the wedding didn't know that this was going to happen, because according to Afrimax, they were going to cover her story about her unfortunate situation with the husband leaving her, only for them to find out that around the same time the husband was getting married to someone else. So they had to make it, happen so she gets to see what is happening. Of course, she came in and crashed the wedding, but when I was looking at the video, the new intending wife of the man didn't seem to be so surprised from the reactions on her face, and not even acting like, okay, this is something that I don't know about. Could there be situations whereby women would know that the man is actually already married but still decide to go into a union with them? Is it possible that there could be women like that? Could there be women that would intentionally want to break a home? Now, I wouldn't say for a fact that this woman herself is the reason why the husband left the wife, because he had left her a few years ago, living with 2 children, a set of twins.
By when she was pregnant, the husband left and took 2 children who were twins. She says she produced 2 twins for 2 consecutive times. After knowing the husband is having a wedding, she wanted to ask the husband 2 questions.
Yewe, numvaga nifuza ko duhura imyaka yose maze mushaka akampa abana banje. Nkamubaza abana nsigiye aho nzabarerera. Byukuri nanze kubamo ngira ngemba mwicu.
She has been struggling to provide for her children. And since she has no one to remain babysitting her young children, if she needs to go somewhere, most of the times she locks her children in the house and says this is a very risky decision, since she cannot stop the firstborn from going to school so as to take care of these little siblings. Life since the husband left was full of struggles, and the mother did all she could so as to raise these children, while the man went away for another wife,
living with the twins that she had just given birth to. But the funny thing is that he wasn't staying with the twins. He took the twins to his own grandmother. Now, there could be a possibility that the woman he was about to get married to doesn't know about the old wife. But of course, the church never knew about this. Who does this kind of thing? Let's take a close look.
The wedding was cancelled automatically and the congregation was dismissed. The wife was told to go to local authorities and even in courts so as to seek justice, hoping for local authorities to solve this problem. The mother says she wanted to have her children right here and was not happy with the way the husband just walked away without saying anything about these two children whom he took away, and the wife wants them back. As a senior pastor who was to pronounce the two as a husband and a wife officially, he talked to Afrimax. He says after hearing all what the mother says, he had to stop the wedding until when the conflicts will be solved and the man will do what he has to do. He adds, the investigation is ongoing and the husband might be taken to court so as justice to be served.
Of course, that's just what she's after because the heart of a mother would always yearn after their own, because the heart of a mother would always be the heart of a mother, yearning after her own children and wanting to be in custody of them. But would the man still provide for them despite leaving her and intending to marry someone else? Would he return the set of twins to the woman to take care of? Because of course, as a mother, you wouldn't want your children to be in the hands of someone else. You have watched videos here on social media where second wives come and then it's as if the first wife's children, who might not even be around, are treated to be next to nothing, or when I say slaves, or are beaten and manhandled by the new wife. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So when I see these stories happening on social media, I just get to wonder, marriage is indeed a good thing. Come on, God instituted this particular union. But men and women could be so different that you wonder to yourself, what is the world really turning into? Of course, human wants are insatiable, we always say, but for you to have a wife without even officially cutting things up with them, then going on to another, it doesn't really make sense, except you just want to practice polygamy in a way that is not supposed to be. But of course, the church did a good thing to call a meeting and then in a way decide to call up the wedding until everything is resolved. But let's move on to another story right here.
You come down here, you entered in this car in my face, in front of me, and you are talking about nonsense.
Get out from me, please.
Tell me to get. Tell him to come pick you up. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, Chinenye. Get the fuck out of here.
Get out.
You're not needed here, Chinenye.
I don't need you.
Then why are you here?
So get
why
out.
are you here?
Get
Don't
out.
fuck your lover, Chinenye.
Yes.
That's what you do.
Get out
every
from me.
day.
Get out from me.
Every day, and you're here. Then you're talking pure nonsense.
God forbid. It's your
God forbid what, Chinenye. That's what you do, Chinenye.
Get out.
And you know.
Get out.
You know.
Get out from me.
Every day.
They ain't got me that one in the
Oh, shut up!
Get out from me.
Don't hit me!
Don't hit me.
Don't hit me! Don't hit me! Who the hell are you to hit me?
Why are you hitting me?
Why are you hitting me? You hit me! You hit me first!
Get out from me.
Take that! You stupid fool! You hit me!
Stupid
You hit me
idiot. Don't
again!
hit me again.
No, hit me
Stupid
again!
idiot.
You hit me, I hit you back!
Come on, sister.
You hit me, I hit you back!
Me believe.
Hit me, I hit you back!
No, hit me again. Hit me again.
No, you hit me first, you hit me again!
Idiot.
You hit me again!
No, don't
Let him go! Tell him to come pick me up!
Don't hit me again.
No, you hit me!
Don't hit me
You are the
again.
one that hitting me!
Don't hit me. You're in my space. Don't hit me again.
Touch me!
Don't hit me again.
Touch me again!
Don't hit me again.
Touch me again!
Don't hit me
No,
again.
you're hitting me! You're hitting me!
Don't hit me again.
You're hitting me!
Leave my hand alone.
I'm not holding your hand!
You're
Don't
hitting
touch
me.
You fool!
Stupid idiot. Stupid idiot. Talk about fool, go fool.
I'm going to be done fool!
Nah.
Or you go!
Nah.
We shall see!
Nah.
Come back out!
Ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn kúrò ìgbéyàwó.
Come back!
Ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn.
I don't need you! You are
Yes, get
shower!
out. I
You
want
are
you to
shower! I don't need you! You be no more! I don't need you!
Okay, go.
I don't need you! Orele kuri kemi. Take a look at you! I don't need you! That's why I don't need you! You be here begging me to fuck you! You be here begging me to fuck you!
Shut up, God forbid.
Every day
I don't want to
you are begging me to fuck you, Chinenye.
You are miserable.
Nobody already let me know.
You are-
I don't want you.
Ew.
I don't want you. Disgusting, Chinenye. You are disgusting. The pussy smell. You are disgusting. You have given me gonorrhea. From fucking banana,
Yeah, in my space. Get out.
That's what you're doing.
That's only you. That's the only thing you know.
You are saying
Yeah.
again. You're fucking hot, Chinene. That's
Yes,
why.
you are.
You fuck everybody you
Yes,
see.
you are.
That's
Yes,
why
I
you
am.
I will not
Yes,
let
I
you.
am.
I will not let you come by me.
Yes,
Close
it's
by
okay.
me. I don't need
It's
you.
okay.
I don't
then.
want you.
It's okay. Bye.
You see.
It's
Starting
okay,
from
bye.
tomorrow, it's a new ball game.
Okay, it's a new ball game. Let's see.
Bet me.
Let's see.
You
You said bet you.
You hit me.
You said bet you.
What did you hit me
You
for?
said bet you.
What did you hit me?
Now, sometimes I ask myself a question: what makes people that are so loving in union, only for them to go deep into marriage and things like this start happening? What makes women cheat? What makes men cheat? What makes such situations happen? That I always feel that marriage should always be a happy, love-feeling, fulfilling relationship that stays happy forever. Now, I'm not saying that marriages do not have issues. Come on, people fight, people do bad-boos. Things like this happen. But just for younger people like me watching right now, you see, when you look at the context of marriage, you have to be really, really careful who you say yes, I do to. Because as time goes on, looking at that particular video and the way they were struggling and the way they were fighting with each other, I just got to wonder to myself, if it was in Africa, if it was in my country, maybe the man might really, really deal with her if he could, or the woman might do some other ordinary things. But depending on different countries, there are rules and laws that apply. That's why the woman had a camera on, videoing what was happening, and the man was more of like limited to what he would have wanted to do. But could it be true that the woman actually gave him gonorrhea? And even the way the woman herself was talking is more of like something both of them were doing. So the man was knocking outside and the woman herself was knocking other boys. Because the woman was like, you too, unko. And the man was like, you too, unko. But maybe the man must have caught her in the act. What is really happening in relationships today? I don't know how your relationship is with you or your spouse. But when I think of this part of my life, sometimes I choose to remain single. But anyway, one day, monkey go market, go return.
1 week, exactly 7 days after the abortion, the guy came and said he was done with the relationship.
Yes.
I begged him, I cried, I knelt down, I would call him, I would text him.
Yes, it was all in
Yeah, and instead of me, because that's what people do when something happens, when in emotional intelligence, we call it a trigger, that you have no control over. When it happens, the way people respond is different. People's reactions are different. So when that happened for me, some people will go and cry and then start crying, but I just swung into denial. And, because I was a Christian,
yes.
So I'm like, the devil wants to rob me of my marital destiny.
So it's like you want to fight for the
I was going to fight for this thing.
That's very important. So your reaction was because of the way we are in Nigeria, the devil wants to rob me.
Yes.
So using God became a form of denial.
Yes.
Using God and the devil.
I didn't think that was a terrible attitude from a man.
Yes.
How would what kind of husband would that make?
I love that. So you didn't even blame the man.
I didn't.
It's the devil.
The devil. And that's what we do in Nigeria.
That's what we do.
Anything that happens is the devil.
Yes.
We're a nation of good or bad.
Yes.
So whatever good is from God, whatever bad is from the devil. We don't hold people accountable.
So you couldn't hold the man responsible for his actions because you're like, the devil is
fighting.
So
I felt the devil was controlling him. And I was truly. I went to his house every day for 3 months.
Oh, Jehovah Shammah.
And I fasted for 40 days.
You fasted for 40 days to get that man back.
Yes. So because I just
the man who promised to marry you, made you have an abortion, said he was going to show up, didn't show up, and then broke up with you 7 days after. Yes. After saying that after the abortion we'll get married.
Yes.
You were fasting for 40 days to get him back.
See you next time in my video. I remain your friend, George. Signing off.